It says it's live on YouTube now. Yeah.
Can't hear you.
Okay, start again. Can you hear me now? Are we good?
Yes.
Can you see me? Okay, great. What? You hear me?
Yes.
I hear myself twice. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. Fine. So, this time of year, we are in a period obviously known as Sfira Sa'imer. And it's an interesting time of year because it's a journey which we're all undertaking to go somewhere else. Which means in life in general, life is a journey. And we're always in life, we're looking and we're going somewhere else. You're about to get into high school, you're gonna finish the grade, you're gonna get married, finish your masechta, whatever it is that you're doing, you're gonna finish something, you're gonna get it done, and you're looking forward to the next moment when this next event is going to be achieved. And there's landmarks in life that we all build for ourselves as we go through life. It's the next vacation, the next wonderful event like getting married or my child getting married. Achieving success is really like an exhilarating experience. You know, when you marry off that kid, when you become that doctor you were hoping to become, when you finish whatever you were planning, it's really an exhilarating experience indeed. Trouble is that the majority of life is not spent on that wonderful experience. The majority of life is actually spent on a journey which is filled with frustration and disappointments. Because most of life, what are you doing? You're preparing to get to the other place where you want to go. So what about those times, which is the preparation times? In Yiddishkeit, you know, we have goals. Like Yetzias Mitzrayim is a goal. Yetzias Mitzrayim is meant to arrive at Matan Torah, at the next moment of Matan Torah. So the Ran says, Rabbeinu Nissim, one of the Rishonim, says that when Bnei Yisrael left Egypt, as soon as they left, they were already anticipating this amazing, incredible moment when they would be able to reach Matan Torah. So they're looking forward towards this unreal experience of Matan Torah. And that's great. That's like beautiful. The trouble is that it takes 49 days to actually get there. And what the 49 days seem to be is this antechamber, this waiting room to arrive at Matan Torah. And what I want to do tonight is focus on the meaning of the journey towards Matan Torah, on the steps that lead us there. And through taking a look at the steps that lead us forward towards Matan Torah, to be able to find meaning in the journey step by frustrating step. Yes, it can get super frustrating, especially in life as you look at other people and you see that the other guy, he's already successfully cleared where he wanted to get to. And he always had it easy. You know, like imagine you want to be an artist, you want to be a singer. You're really good at being a singer, but you didn't quite make it. So not all singers draw the big crowd. Only some singers are able to draw the real big crowd. And you're not one of them. Some people make real big money, and you're not one of them. You didn't quite make the big boys. So, some people find a shidduch easily, and other people are just struggling in life and grappling to get there. And what we want to do tonight is focus on the meaning of the journey towards the next goal, towards Matan Torah, towards that shidduch, towards that money, towards what I want to get to. Whether it's good or bad, hopefully it's wonderful things we all want to achieve. But the moment and the path to get there is filled with frustrations. And what we're going to see is how every step of the way, every day of Sphira is an individual count, and every day matters. In the din, in the halacha of Sphira Sa'imer, what we do is we count each day and we make a special bracha, a special blessing on every single day. If you think about it, it's very strange, right? Why would you make a bracha on every day? It's like the day is going to pass by anyway. You would think you make a bracha on something where you're being useful, but over here you're counting the days. So what if you're counting the days? I mean, counting is wonderful, but the day is going to pass by whether or not you actually count it. So you're sitting over there counting today's 12 days, 13 days, 14 days, and every day you're counting and you're counting and you're counting. So what? What does the counting actually accomplish? So the Torah tells us, Chazal say that counting means that you hold something dear. For example, when God wanted to count the Jews numerous times in the Torah, what he does is, he says, I love you people, I hold you so dearly, mitoich chibason, because I find you so dear and special, that's why I'm going to count you. And so, moine mispor lakoichavim, it says, he counts the number of the stars. Every star, which looks like a tiny little thingy-majig in the heavens, is actually a very strong, powerful, and giant and purposeful and meaningful being. And when God counts the stars, what he's saying is, I find every star to be dear and valuable. And so too, when God counts Am Yisrael, who are compared to the stars, Am Yisrael, every single one is valuable. How do I know that? Because God counts us. So counting means you find it valuable. And likewise, we count the days because every day is important and is meaningful in our lives. So through counting the days, we portray how meaningful the days are to us. In actual fact, when did the counting of the days take place? It's interesting. The counting of the days took place on the first day of Iyar. If you look in the Torah, Parshas Bamidbar, Chumash Bamidbar, the Chumash of the desert, which is known in English as Numbers, after the Hebrew name, Chumash HaPekudim, which is the Chumash of Numbers. So the Chumash of Numbers begins with a count of Bnei Yisrael, the Jews. When were they counted? They were counted on the first day of the month of Iyar, which always comes out in the middle of the counting of the Sphira. Almost as if God is saying to us, you guys are special. Every one of you is special. I'm going to count you. I'm going to enumerate you. I'm going to find you dear. And as a result of that, what I want you to do is count your days. Every day is a blessing on its own. Every day is a bracha. And I want you to count your days and to see how each day contributes to the being of what it means to be a Jew. And so even though the days are passing by regardless, we end up counting each one of us because we value every single day. Now, when you count something, the result is because you count it, that's why, so you find it valuable, it actually gets a special value. In halachic terms, we call that davar shebeminyan ein batel. When something is being counted, it's not easy to nullify. So some things are not counted. For example, in halacha, if I go to a store and I buy flour, so typically speaking, you go to in the olden days, think about it that way, you go to a store and you buy some flour, you don't buy pieces of flour, you buy pounds of flour. One little piece of flour is insignificant. However, if you go to a marketplace and you want to buy 3 oxen, you're not going to buy pounds of oxen. You buy each individual ox. So davar shebeminyan, when something is counted, it cannot be nullified. What that means, halachically speaking, is that if a piece of something insignificant, a piece of flour falls into, or a drop of milk falls into meat, you can actually nullify it because it's able to become batil, nullified. But if something that's counted falls into something else, it can never be mixed up. The mixture doesn't exist. That's the point here. So when you count the days, what you're saying is that every day is super important. And true, the days pass by regardless. But through us counting them, we give the days meaning, and every single day becomes special on its own. Now, there's another component to Sfiras HaOmer, to the counting of the Omer, because in English, Sfiras HaOmer means the counting of the days of the Omer, which is the korban, the sacrifice they brought. But in a more literal sense, sphira means, the word sefira is to refine. And the Omer is animal food. So Sfiras HaOmer means to refine your animal. The counting of the Omer is the time when we refine the animal inside of us. And that's significant because, the Balatanya printed a siddur of his own. And in this siddur that he printed, he actually never put in any Kabbalistic kavanas, any Kabbalistic interpretations that a person should think about. So, for example, many siddurim that you'll see have in them, like they'll spell the name of God, Yud-K, Vav-K, and they'll spell it with different vowels, and they'll put another name of Hashem inside that because they are referring to Kabbalistic meanings. Many of the Sephardi siddurim do that. If you go to Miron, let's say, to Rav Shimon Bar Yochai's gravesite, you'll find over there all these different types of siddurim where they have all different Kabbalistic meanings. And the Balatanya said, I don't want to put any Kabbalistic meaning whatsoever into my siddur. Why? Because I want the siddur to be a davar shava l'chol nefesh, something that everybody can read equally. And if it's Kabbalistic meanings, you can't exactly expect everyone to read it. So in the siddur, he refused to put in any Kabbalistic interpretations except for one place, one exception. The one exception is Sfiras HaOmer. When you get to the counting of the Omer, suddenly he has there these kavanas, all these Kabbalistic meanings that you should think about. So if you look in any siddur usually, you'll see it's printed with a few words after the count of every day. There's a few words. What we're doing is there are 49 words in the name, in the kapitel, in the verses of Ana B'Choyach, which is a very Kabbalistic prayer. Ana B'Choyach. So we think each one of them of that, each day there's another word. And then there's the pasuk, there's the verse Yismechu V'Rananu, and there's one letter, there's 49 letters over there, and there's the words Elikim Yechonenu, one word from there. So if you look at every count of the Omer in any siddur that's printed, most siddurim, you'll see it says to think about this word, and this letter. And then there's something else to think about, which we actually pronounce officially, and that is a midah, a sphira, which means on the first day of the Omer, there are seven emotions. And they are chesed, gvura, tiferes, and so on. Kindness, severity, etc. And what happens is, so 7 are divided into 7, which is why there's 49 days. So over the course of the Sfiras HaOmer for 49 days, what you do is, you go through each sphira. And that means every day you are working on yourself on a different midah, on a different character trait of personal growth. Each day we're working on our journey towards Matan Torah. So the prize at the end, the crown jewel at the end, is to get to the Torah. But to get to the Torah, we have to slowly and meticulously refine our characters. So here we have a dual meaning. On the one hand, we're counting every single day. And in a deeper sense, what we're doing is we're changing ourselves, we're transforming ourselves, we're becoming better people. The trouble is that the journey can get frustrating. Because you always ask yourself, why am I not perfect? Why am I not there? Why am I not holding by the giving of the Torah? What is the point of this really seemingly pointless journey? Each of us knows himself, knows the constant inner battle. Let's try together to find some meaning in it together. Because the meaning is as follows. At the end of Sfiras HaOmer, when you count, after you count, there is a special few tefillos, prayers that we say. And in one of them, and the last one, we say, through my counting my Sfiras HaOmer, and through my working on my emotional character trait of today, through my sphira, all the worlds will gain a special energy. Yushpa Shefarav, a tremendous energy will be drawn down into all the supernal worlds. So This Kabbalistic idea made it into the Siddur, and even the Baal HaTanya, who doesn't like Kabbalistic ideas, inserted it in the Siddur. And what he's saying is that through my personal growth and my avoida of transformation, I'm going to have an influence on all the supernal worlds above. And that's why one of the tefillas there is, one of the prayers is, that God should return the avoida, he should return the service of the Beis HaMikdash back to its place. Because through our collective journey in life towards building the third Beis HaMikdash, the third Beis HaMikdash is the sum total of all our avoida, all our work over history. And by the way, if the Beis HaMikdash gets rebuilt today, so then, we only count today because the rabbi said to count. We don't count the Torah. Biblically, we don't have to count today. But if the Beis HaMikdash gets rebuilt today, then all the rabbinic counting, which we were doing until today, the first 20 days of the Sefira, are still counted. Meaning the avoida, the personal growth that we're doing over here, which we say has a mashpia shefarav, as an influence on all the olamas and all the world. And this service that I'm doing now is what it takes to build the Beis HaMikdash. Parenthetically, the Beis HaMikdash was built, the first Beis HaMikdash, as recorded in the book of Divrei Hayamim in Tanakh, was built on the first day of the month of Iyar, again, during the Sfiras HaOmer. So listen to what this means. We're saying that there's a Beis HaMikdash, it's a temple that's been gone for 1,900 years, almost 2,000 years. And this Beis HaMikdash, through me, doing my avoida, my service, my work, my growth, my personal growth, my journey. So in the Siddur, it says you should think about the fact that your avoida now, your Sfiras HaOmer, which you find it so difficult to do personal growth, is actually going to work my way up and build the Beis HaMikdash. So God counts every Jew, and every Jew counts every day. And every Jew works on himself and focuses on every midah and every transformation of personal growth to rise up to become a better person on that journey. Let's take a look, because the reason we need personal growth is because we find ourselves sometimes stuck and constrained in a place. So let's take a look at the first journey of the first Jew. And it was a special journey the first Jew undertook. And this Jew, what he did was he was stuck. He was stuck in a certain position, and his avodah, his work, what he did, becomes the paradigm for what all of us should be doing through history. And the first Jew is Avram Avinu. So Avram Avinu takes a journey. Now I'm referring specifically to a journey that he took, which is he was already in the land of Israel. Avram was in Eretz Yisrael. He's in the land of Israel. He's successful. He's doing well. And then one day there's a famine. And the famine forces him to leave the land of Israel. So where does he go? He takes his wife Sarah, and they go down to a place called Mitzrayim. Now, we're not just being told a story about Avraham and Sarah going down to Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim is a state of constraints and limitations. Mitzrayim, the word Mitzrayim means limitations. So if you think about it, Avraham was living a wonderful life, a holy life in the land of Israel. And then what happens to him is he's forced to go down into Mitzrayim, where he's going to contend with all the difficulties that they faced over there, where Paroi, king of Mitzrayim, took Sarah away. Now we're going to learn this story, and we're going to see how this story refers to the journey of Avram and Sarah, and their journey is the journey that all of us undertake together. And the story is recorded in the Zohar. Now the Zohar is the book of deep introspective study. And the Zohar describes the journey of Avram and Sarah, and it's describing the journey of Avram and Sarah, we'll see, as the journey of all of us in life. And when we want to look at Sfiras HaOmer and understand our journey and find meaning in the moments, in every single moment on the way, when we look at the journey of Avram and Sarah, we learn about our own journey. So the Zohar records the following episode in Parashat Tazria. There were once two Tanoim. Their names were Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Elazar was the son of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the author of the Zohar. Rabbi Elazar went on a journey together with Reb Abba. And Reb Abba tells Rabbi Elazar, he says, do me a favor, Rabbi Elazar, say a Dvar Torah. We're on a journey Tell me a good vart. Rabbi Elazar says, okay, I'll tell you a good dvar Torah. What I'll tell you about is that Avram was on a journey with Sarah to Mitzrayim. He's going to Egypt. And on the way, he tells Sarah that if we go down to Mitzrayim, remember one thing. Always, if you ever get asked, always say, Imrina achoisiat. Always say, you are my sister. And the reason for that is, Leman itavli va'avorech, so that things should be good for me. I will gain. As Rashi says, they'll give me a lot of gifts. So there's a book called Likutei Levi Yitzchak, authored by Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Schneerson, who explains the significance of these stories. He says this story is actually expressing what Avram and Sarah were going through. It expresses the story of the soul and the body as they find their way into the world. Now, let me preface that the Rashba is one of the greatest Rishonim. When you think about the Rishonim, that's 1,000 years ago, the rabbis who initially interpreted the Talmud. So the Rashba, he's a Baal Nigler, right? He speaks about the Gemara study, not so much about the esoteric, at least not in his works that we most commonly know. So the Rashba was once asked, he was challenged, and they asked him, they said, there's a group of scholars, a group of rabbis who are interpreting that when you say Avraham and Sarah, that you're actually referring to the soul and the body. Avraham is the soul and Sarah is the body. So the Rashba says, he answered them back, he says, what's wrong with that? So they answered him, they said, the mainstream rabbinate says you should take action against these people who are saying this because they're taking the verses out of their correct and true context. And we're concerned that the Torah is going to be taken totally out of context. And therefore, we ask the Rashba to please put these guys, excommunicate them, and make us take a stand against it. So the Rashba tells them, he says, I investigated it. And this appears in Shailas Chuvas of the Rashba, in the response of the Rashba. He says, I investigated. And he says, I concluded that these are genuine rabbis. And he explains in his response that the story indeed means exactly what it says. He says, of course, Avram and Sarah is the story of Abraham, the man, and Sarah, the woman. But there's also a deeper interpretation. The deeper interpretation is that the story is a story of the body and the soul. The Tzemach Tzedek in a Maimer brings this Rashba, and he explains that this is the deeper level of learning. He says, you see, the story happens on two levels. There's Avram, the man, and Sarah, the woman, who are going down to Mitzrayim, the country. But he says, really, the truth is that the story is a story about two Kabbalistic concepts, about a soul and a body, which are going on a journey. And what happens is, the spheres are these Kabbalistic ideas. But in order for the Kabbalistic idea to unfold, it requires a human being in this world to bring down the concept. So any story in Torah, in fact, takes place on two levels, the esoteric and the practical. And in order for the esoteric to be real, it means you also have to have a practical story. So the story of Avram and Sarah is a practical story that also it's a spiritual story that also has practical application. And with that in mind, let's take a look at the story of Reb Abba and Reb Elazar. So again, this Zohar is not a storybook either. The Zohar says that Reb Abba and Reb Elazar are going on a journey. Let's just examine for a moment who these people are. Now, Reb Elazar was the son of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Rashbi is the author of the Zohar, and we have Lag BaOmer coming over soon. What is Lag BaOmer? Celebration of the day of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. What do we know about Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai? That he spent together with his son Reb Elazar no less than 13 years in a cave. Now, during those 13 years, they couldn't be doing anything else. They didn't have even mitzvahs to do. They couldn't shake a lulav and they couldn't eat matzah on Pesach. And it's not just because practically they didn't have one, but also because Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai holds there's a concept called Teirasai Nusai. There's such a thing as a person whose Torah is his vocation. So he's so dedicated to his Torah, he's so involved and engrossed in the Torah that nothing else in the world matters to him. Rabbi Lazar was such a person. He didn't stop learning Torah for anything. There was nothing in the world that could prevent his study of Torah. And Rabbi Lazar is friends with Rabbi Abba. It's like they say about Reish Lakish, that if you want to know who he was, if you want to know who his friends were, take a look at him. If he befriended someone, it means that that guy was like him. So if Rabbi Lazar befriended Rabbi Abba, clearly Rabbi Abba was also of such a nature. He was the type of person who made it into the Zohar, type of person that Teirasei Umnusa, that doesn't stop learning. So their goals in life were to be learning Torah all day long. And what happens is, Rabbi Lazar and Rabbi Abba, if you pay attention to the story, are going on a journey. And as they're going on the journey, Rabbi Abba says to Rabbi Lazar, could you please tell me something, a dvart of Torah? Tell me a dvar Torah. Tell me a word of Torah. If he's asking him to say a word of Torah, that means that the moment before they were not saying a word of Torah. Now, if I ask you to say a dvar Torah, that's amazing. That means most of the day I'm not learning Torah. If I ask you to say something in Torah, that means that I want to learn something now. How does that apply to someone like Rabbi Abba and Rabbi Lazar, who are people who are Teirasei Umnusa, who spent 13 years in a cave and never stopped learning for a moment? So how come this moment they weren't learning? And in fact, what they were doing in this moment is they were going on a journey. What's that journey they were going on? So they left the study hall, they left the Beis HaMedrash, and they went on a journey. And on this journey, they're talking between them. And then he says, say a dvar Torah. So the explanation that Likutei Lev Yitzchak says in the Zohar is what happened was people go in life, travel on a journey. And Rabbi Lazar and Rabbi Abba were traveling on a journey. Now, this journey there had to be a good reason why they were going on it. So they might have been going on to go save Jews, for which you must stop learning Torah. And on that journey, on that path, he says, listen, I know we're separated from Torah because we must. The Torah declares that when something is important enough, then you have to leave and you have to go do something else. He says, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to save Jewish lives, so I'm going on a journey. And on the way, he turns to Rabbi Lazar and he says, could you please tell me why God does this to me? I was in the study hall. I was so happy. I was learning Torah day and night. And God makes these things happen in my life when my goals are set over there. And God makes these things happen to me. And I'm wondering, why does God have to do this to me? And then I realized that the reason why God does it, he says, so he puts me on a journey. I ask you, Rabbi Lazar, I ask you, why does God do this to me? And Rabbi Lazar says to him, he says, let me tell you why. When Avraham went down to Mitzrayim, to Egypt, he asked the same question to himself. He says to himself, why am I going on this journey? Why is God taking me out of the land of Israel and taking me away from my ambitions and aspirations, which were so good, and putting me in this state over here? And he realized that, you know what the reason is? He tells Sarah, tells her, listen, the reason we're going down is Lemani Tavli Ba'avurech, because things should be good. We want life to be better through our going down to Mitzrayim. And we're going to come out with a lot of gifts. The Egyptians are going to give us a lot of gifts in this process. And that means something important to all of us. Life is a journey, and the journey is usually not where you want to go. You want to go there. You want to be learning Torah. You want to stay in the land of Israel. You want to do whatever you want to do. And there's a curveball that's thrown at you, and life says, you can't stay there. You got to go there. So you're forced into a different position. And Avraham turns to Sarah and he says, you know, when you go down to Mitzrayim, I want you always to say, Imri no'achoisiat. You should always say, you are my sister. In a Kabbalistic sense, what that means is the soul tells the body, when you come down to this world is not an easy place to live in. I want you to know when you live in this world that the chances are that you're going to be enticed and persuaded, and there's going to be a lot of challenges to you. And one thing I ask you is always say about me, the soul, that I am your sister. Always stay connected and bound to me. No matter where you go, stay bound and connected to me. Now let's just understand this Zohar. The soul comes down to this world together with the body, and the soul says to the body, I'm going to be holy, I'm going to stay good. But you're going to be taken captive by this world. And as you get taken captive, what I ask of you is to never forget that there's a mission and a purpose of your being involved in this world. And you're never severed, you're never cut off from your relationship with the soul. And the reason is, that things should be good for me, through a body and a soul arriving in this world, even though it's a big, big challenge to the soul and the soul to the body, and the body gets thrown off, and it's likely that the body's going to fall, and the body gets taken away by Paroi. But the soul says to the body, every single day of your life, every single day of being in the body in Mitzrayim is worthwhile because of the riches that you get from it. Life is full of riches. There are tremendous riches which we all are able to achieve and to realize in our lives. What are those riches? So there's an important concept in Hasidus and Kabbalah. It's called Birur Hanitzutzes, refining of sparks. What it means is that the soul was placed into this body, into this world, and there's all sparks available to us. There's opportunities in life available anywhere and everywhere. Wherever you go, there's opportunities of discovering the beauty in this world. And here's how it goes. I was speaking to someone the other day, and this lady, she said to me, you know, I was hoping for Mashiach to come on Pesach, and I opened the door. Honestly, I was filled with emunah. When I opened the door for Eliyahu and Navi to come in, I was filled with emunah. I was 100% sure and confident that Mashiach was coming, and Eliyahu was about to, invite Mashiach through my door. And then the whole Pesach, I was still waiting and waiting and waiting. And then the whole month of Nisan, I was waiting. And then Nisan ended and Mashiach didn't come, and I'm frustrated. The next day, I was having a chat with her, and she's telling me whatever, something separate, something frustrating was going on in her life. She's telling me about the problem, this issue, that issue, that issue. And I said to her, maybe we should connect the other day's conversation to this day. Because maybe the reason why all these frustrating things happen to us is that's the opportunity of revealing Mashiach in your life. Which means it's not just about opening a door for Eliyahu and Navi and saying, here, I open the door is open, come in. Opening the door means opening your heart, opening your soul, exposing yourself, allowing Mashiach, allowing God into your life. So life is filled with opportunities. Every time something goes wrong, every time there's a practice of something upsetting to you, what's really happening in truth is an opportunity for you to find sparks of Kedusha, sparks of holiness, and to reveal another aspect of God in this world. So here's how life works. You come into this world, you expect to be living in a state of Eretz Yisrael, you expect to be living in a holy place, you expect to be doing holy things, and then things go wrong, and it doesn't go the way you wanted it to, and you get all upset and flustered, and you're worried, why did this happen to me? Why do I have to be doing this? And the real reason is because you're gathering sparks, because God wants to see humans live as humans. What are sparks? Every time, every opportunity in life, every moment where something goes wrong, it's another spark, it's another opportunity to discover the word of God in that particular moment. And that's what Rabbi Lazar tells Rabbi Abba. Rabbi Abba looks and he says, I don't understand. We were living at home, we were learning Torah, and suddenly you sent us on a goose chase. God sent us on a mission to go out into this world to do very holy and important things. Yes, I agree. But why, oh God, why do you have to send me into these positions? Why can't life just be easy? And the answer that he gives him is, he says, because that's what Avraham and Sarah were doing. Avraham and Sarah went down to Egypt, and they were forced down to Mitzrayim. They were forced down to this difficult place called Mitzrayim. And the purpose of going down to Mitzrayim was in order to get wealth out of this. Our purpose in descending into this world is to accrue a wealth. That's something we should come back with, something special. We should grow from the experience. So yes, I want to go there. I want to be in Eretz Yisrael. I want to be learning Torah. And life sends me over there. But that process of where life sends me to is not for naught. There's a reason for it. There's a purpose. And that purpose is the purpose of existing, of being, which God placed us into this world for. So that answers a wonderful question, right? The question is, Sfiras Omer is a process of growth, 49 days on a journey, working on yourself, 49 middas, refining your character traits every step of the way in order to ready yourself for Matan Torah. What we're saying is that every step of this journey, the 49 steps of getting towards Torah, every step is not a curveball being thrown at you. It's an opportunity for personality growth, for transformation, for inner transformation that's going to take place. And all that is like Avraham and Sarah. As long as you keep on saying, Leman, as long as you're saying, that listen, I'm connected, I'm always connected. There's always a mission. I'm never separated from God. And if that's the case, I'm going to gain from this. It's only going to be good for me. It's only going to be beneficial. But now let's take it one step further. Because, you know, the message is that if a person aligns himself with his mission that God gave him, then you can find meaning in the here and now, despite the daily challenges. But in practice, it's so difficult because we have plans, we have ideas, we have aspirations, we have ambitions. And living in the moment means being able to handle failures and deal with challenges. So here you are telling me that when something goes wrong in my life as a purpose, I hear you. But it's not easy to live in the moment when the mind and heart are focused on a bigger goal. I want to be there. I want to be in Eretz Yisrael. I want to be achieving something else. And you're telling me that what I'm doing over here now is for my growth and for my personality change, and it's wonderful. But that really requires Mesiras Nefesh. It means a person needs to completely shift and give up on his hope and vision and get through whatever he's going. And to allow us, to give us the power, to empower us to do this, how do we live life and look at the situation that we're in now and the ability to live failures and unaccomplished, a lack of accomplishment, where you expected to accomplish one thing and you didn't accomplish it, and you're stuck in a different area, and to rejoice in the moment, in the day. So as always, we look to the Torah to learn how do I practically do this? How do I feel the power of the moment and the now and the here? During the time of Sfiras HaOmer, every Shabbos, we learn Pirkei Avos, Ethics of the Fathers. And that's merely the Chasidusa, it's words of Chasidus. The purpose of learning all that is in order to allow us, to empower us to be able to get through what we need to get through. So in other words, you're working on your personality growth, on your personal growth and personality change. And in order to get there, every Shabbos, there's a message that the Mishnah gives us to enable us to get there. And I want to just discuss with you one message that comes out in a very strange Mishnah. The Mishnah appears in two places, one in chapter 1, one in chapter 2. In chapter 2, it says, Hevu zehirin boroshus. Be careful of the government. Hevu zehirin boroshus, be careful of the government. And the reason is, they only care about themselves. Be aware of politicians. They look like they love you. They look like they love you. But they're not there for you when push comes to shove. Politicians are all about currying favor, the Mishnah says. So it's a wonderful Mishnah, great idea. But how is that going to help me in my personal growth? Because most people are not politicians. They don't deal with politicians. And even those who do deal with politicians, well, I mean, it's a political message. It's not a message of personal growth. And it's similar to the message in chapter 1 in Pirkei Avos, which is Al tisvad al roshus. Don't ever get known to the government. You know, it's like, don't take their money, don't get known to them, leave them alone, and that way you'll be fine. So, just by the way, the Rambam, in his early print in the Rambam, he printed the Al tisvad al roshus means roshus should be made kedem. He says the government that used to be in the days of old. Don't get comfortable with the government from the days of old, the Rambam says. And in the censorship of the Kapach edition found, they saw that that's not accurate. That was added by the censor. The Rambam says, don't get comfortable with the government. But how is that relevant to personal growth? The Gemara in Nedarim explains it to us thus, and from that we can postulate to this. The Gemara in Nedarim says that the body is compared to a city. And it's based on a verse, a pasuk in Koheles. Koheles says, Shlomo HaMelech says, Ir Ktana. There's a little city, V'anashim ba me'at, and there's very few people in it. And the little city, the Gemara in Nedarim says, refers to your body. And there's very few people, very few parts of your body that actually know what's going on. And the verse continues in Koheles, Uvo elea melech gadol, a great king comes over to the city. Vesavavota, and he surrounds the city. Ubana elea mitzodim gdolim, he builds these great traps on it. Umatzaba ish misken vechacham, is a simple guy. Umalatu et ha'ir b'chochmato, he's able to save the city with his wisdom. The Gemara in Nedarim says, the city is you, your body. Your body has a king. Who's your king? Your king is your melech. Melech is a king. Melech is an acronym for moach, brain, lev, heart, kaved, the liver. The melech is the one who dominates you. Who controls your life? Who rules your life? Your brain, your heart, and your liver. You ever notice who actually controls you? In life, all of us develop ideas. We have ambitions which come from the mind. So my mind decides I want to get this place, and that becomes my guiding light, the mind. Then you have the heart, is the feelings. So I don't feel right about something. And how many of us do things only because we feel one way? And the kaved is something else, we'll leave it out. The kaved means your action. Let's keep it at the mind and the heart are the rulers of the body. So the Mishnah tells you, in Mili de Chasidusa, it's telling you a Hasidic idea, never mind the other pshat, which is about the government, which is politicians. It's saying there's a government, there's a part of you that controls your being. Who controls the being of a human being? The mind and the heart are your melech. And it's wonderful. People have great ideas of what they want to achieve in life, and they have great aspirations, and they have great feelings. Al tisvada loroshus. Don't ever get too comfortable. Don't have an idea with your own government, with your own controllers. It's very important to have plans and goals, but don't get into bed with them. Don't get too comfortable with them. Don't ever align yourself with your ideas and aspirations. Don't ever define yourself by what your brain and your heart dictate. So when you decide, I want to be a doctor, and your mission in life becomes to help people in the world. Your mission in life becomes to get married. Your mission in life becomes whatever people decide their mission to be. Don't get too comfortable that is your being. That's who you are. Why? Because it looks nearing keohavim b'shas ha'na'asan. They look like they love you when they benefit from you. When life is good and you're working towards your ambitions and your goals, it's wonderful. But life is not that way. How many people tried to get one thing in life and didn't achieve it? Yep, you're not the wealthiest guy in the world, and you didn't get what you want to get, and you have this amazing ambition, and it was such a beautiful, holy, altruistic purpose. You wanted to save the world, and lo and behold, something went wrong, and you're just unable to do it. And then you get frustrated and upset. So the Midas Chasidus in Pirkei Avos says, never allow the mind and the heart to define you, because the mind and the heart always have ulterior motives. Every one of them has an ulterior motive. He doesn't care about himself. He's got a reason why he does it. One of the students of the Mezritcha Magid was Reb Zusha Vanipoli. Now, Reb Zusha was an interesting guy. He was a holy tzaddik. But some of the students of the Magid were great Talmidei Chachamim. They were scholars. They knew how to learn. They were brilliant Talmidei Chachamim. And he wasn't. He's a holy man, very holy man, but he didn't know how to learn. In fact, one time he saw two students of the Magid learning, and he was sitting over there, and he didn't understand what they were talking about. So he cried, and he davened in a corner, and he turned to God, and he says, God, Zusha doesn't understand. Zusha's upset. Zusha wants to learn Torah, and he can't understand what they're saying. And God revealed it to him, a heavenly revelation, even though his mind actually couldn't grasp it. So Reb Zusha once remarked, and he used to say, when I get to heaven, no one's going to measure me and evaluate me in comparison with any one of my friends. They're much more talented, much smarter, much better at anything than me. But you know what they're going to test me at? They're going to say, Zusha, why weren't you Zusha Anipoli? Why were you not able to achieve what you were supposed to achieve in life? So here's how it goes. I, Zusha, want to be a Talmid Chacham. It's such a beautiful thing to want to be. I want to be a scholar. I want to learn Torah. It's wonderful. But God didn't give you the talents. And he gave you the talents to be a tzaddik, but not to be, by the way, I think Reb Zusha was more Talmid Chacham than all of us, but just relative to his friends. So he says, but Reb Zusha says, I didn't get the qualities and talents and brain capacity needed to be what my friends are. And I'm frustrated by that. It's upsetting me. I want to go there and I'm being sent over there. So I'm stuck every day. I'm crying. Why am I unable to fulfill my mission? I want to be able to learn Torah. And I'm not able to do it. And for that, we need Mesiras Nefesh. For that, Mesiras Nefesh means not to give away the guf, the body, to give away aspirations and the soul. And that's the purpose. We all have desires, ambitions, very nice things we want to be. To want to be a Talmid Chacham is a beautiful thing. You want to be a scholar, that's amazing. But God says, when you look at real life, you'll discover that real life is not always so simple. And not always are you given the talents, and not always are you given the opportunities, and you got to try your best. But you also need to be real about who you are. And you need to look at yourself and not get frustrated by where you're holding now. And to say to yourself, in this position that I'm at now, so what's this Zusha able to achieve? This person, is this person able to be the best Zusha God made him to be? So never get too comfortable with your government. Never allow the government of your body, those who control you, your mind and your heart, to dictate to you. It's great to have ambitions. It's great to have a desire to be a Talmid Chacham. If you don't have that, on a regular day, you can't succeed. Life needs people to have ambitions and goals and aspirations, but don't define yourself by them. Al tisvad al haroshes, don't get known to them. And what that means is that in real life, we advocate, the Mishnah advocates for Mesiras Nefesh. Mesiras Nefesh means to give yourself away, to give away your own needs and your own desires. And that Mesiras Nefesh is the goal. The story is told about the Beis Yosef. Beis Yosef lived in the 1500s and he was living in Sfas. He authored the Shulchan Aruch. That's a pretty impressive book to write. And the Beis Yosef once he was once told by his Magid Mesharim, he wrote a book called Magid Mesharim, which is named for his Rebbe, his mentor. His mentor was an angel. And he wrote a book of all the things the angel told me. So the angel once told him, he says, you are going to have the schus, you're going to have the merit of becoming a martyr, of dying al Kiddush Hashem, for Mesiras Nefesh. And the Beis Yosef was ecstatic. A while later, the Magid came to the Beis Yosef and he tells him, I'm so sorry, but you were punished. Something you did wrong, and you will no longer be killed al Kiddush Hashem. You will not be martyred. You will not die. Instead, the Beis Yosef went ahead and he wrote his book called Shulchan Aruch. And what this Magid was telling him was that to write a Shulchan Aruch is a very important thing. It's amazing. Likely the Shulchan Aruch would have been written by someone else, but still, he could have had the schus, the merit of writing the Shulchan Aruch. And he's telling him that you were punished not to have Mesiras Nefesh, because the greatest achievement anyone could have is that ability to have Mesiras Nefesh, to die al Kiddush Hashem. But in a broader sense, it doesn't just mean to die al Kiddush Hashem. It means to live al Kiddush Hashem. It means to live a meaningful, valuable life. And how does that work? I want to get to Matan Torah. I'm looking over there towards Matan Torah. That's amazing. That's a holy thing. That's like Reb Zusha saying, I want to be a great scholar. I want to be a great Talmid Chacham. That's like Reb Abba saying, I wish I could just be in the Beis Medrash, in the holy Beis Medrash, just learning Torah all day long. That's all I want to be. All I want is to learn Torah. And yet, when I look at my real life, every one of us finds that life doesn't lead you where you wanted it to lead. Reb Zusha finds I don't have the talent to be the Talmid Chacham like my friends. Reb Abba finds that I'm on a journey and I'm forced to go do something else, which God wants me to be doing. So I'm unable to learn the Torah that I want to do. And Avraham says I was hoping to live in the land of Israel. And I finally got there. It was so exciting. And now look where I am. But those moments where you find yourself in positions you were not expecting, in positions you were hoping to avoid, those moments call upon us to experience Mesiras Nefesh. They call upon us to say, I'm not here for my own needs. I'm not here for myself. And I never got comfortable. The government looks, your body and your Your mind, your heart looks like they love you, they don't love you. The real purpose is, the real ability is when you align your own purpose with God's purpose. So the Baal Shem Tov was once, someone came to him once and he asked him for a blessing, a special bracha. The Baal Shem Tov kept telling the guy that I can't help you, I can't give a bracha. I don't know what the guy wanted. He wanted a bracha for a child, I don't know. But the Baal Shem Tov kept telling him, I'm so sorry, my friend, I cannot give you the bracha. And one day, he came to Baal Shem Tov again and again, and he says, Rebbe, I need that bracha. And the Baal Shem Tov says, you know what? I'm giving you the bracha. And as soon as he did that, a heavenly voice revealed itself to the Baal Shem Tov and told him that you should know, we have no choice in heaven. We have to obey. Tzaddik goyzar kodesh baruch hu mekayim. We have no choice but to listen to you. So we're gonna give the guy what he wanted. But I'm telling you now, as a result of this, you're going to be punished that you will not have a portion in Olam Haba. You will not have a chelek in the world to come. And the Baal Shem Tov listened and he jumped for joy. He made a special l'chaim and he says, yes, finally, I'm able to serve Hashem. I'm able to serve God, because until now, everything I was doing was because I enjoyed doing it. Because this was my goal, it was my mind and my aspiration, my ambition. So my ambition happened to be a holy ambition. You know, when your life begins, when you begin to serve God, when ambitions fail and when you don't have what you intended to have and you're forced into a different area, now it becomes special. Now you can serve Hashem. And the service of Hashem is because there's so many sparks available to us, so much that we can do in life. When life goes wrong, look every day. Don't get frustrated. Give tzedakah. Get happy. So many things you could do. No, it may not have been the mission that you intended. It may not have been what you planned, but it could be a lot better than that. Because the journey of life is the journey that God leads us on. And so as we arrive at Sfiras Omer, at this beautiful time of year, it's a time of preparation. We're getting ready for the next step. Yes, the Ran says we're getting ready for Matan Torah. We are now in the 49 days which lead up to Matan Torah. But don't ever forget that when something leads up to something else, every one of those 49 days has another midah, another character trait to work on. And sometimes your spouse has a little argument with you, and you have to argue back with your spouse, and you say, that's not leading me to Matan Torah. Then you look back, and the mitzvah is to count today. Count the day, refine the moment, feel the power of the moment. Because every single day needs to be treasured, counted, step by step, the sphera, the refinement of this step of the way. And even though I say to myself, why on earth, God, did you put me in this position? I was planning to be something so much better. Had you given me a little bit more talents, a little bit of more money, a little bit more something, a little bit more of anything, I would have been so much better. And all those if onlys, the Mishnah tells you, the if onlys, the purpose that you intended in life, the if onlys are not the goal of life. Never get too comfortable. Don't get known. Don't get too comfortable with your mind and your heart which govern you. Allow God into your life. And then the journey becomes special. And that's what it means in Sfiras Omer when we say, through my avodah, every step of the way, every tiny little step that I take, all the worlds are going to change. Because I thought my goal was to be a Talmid Chacham. I thought my goal was to have some money. That was my ambition. But God, He's got much greater ambitions and purposes for all of us. God's purpose for all of us is that we should, each one of us, fulfill the mission for which we were put down here on this earth. And so He says, hey, my dear child, enter this world, come inside, do what you got to do. But never forget, no matter where you go, things are going to go wrong. They're not going to be the way you wanted them to go. And always, always remember, Imri no achoisiat. Remember, there's a purpose. It's always, you're my sister. There's always a purpose of the body and the soul together. And when we follow the purpose of life and we're able to realize that life is purposeful and it's not about the purpose I intended, then my life becomes real. And then every step of the way, every single day is a count. And you see, it's a bracha. Today is 18 days. Today is 19 days. Today is 35 days. Every single day is a special bracha and a count. It's not one count on the end, because every step of the journey in life, wherever life leads you, is an opportunity for Mesiras Nefesh. And so a Jew counts the days, because every day, every moment, every step of the way is precious. Even if I may have planned something else, the plan that God has for me is the ultimate plan that leads me to the direction that I'm supposed to be going. At the end, what is Matan Torah? Zusha. Why weren't you Zusha? Did you fulfill the purpose for which God intended you? And if we're able to change our focus, to live our lives based on the intention that God had for us, and to rejoice, how do we do this? By rejoicing in the moment. Just feel the power of today. Make a bracha on today. Don't think about what's going to happen after Corona, what's going to happen when we get back into the shul. Everything's wonderful. That's tomorrow. But today, now, I'm here, and this is where I'm holding now. Make a bracha and say, Asher kiddushan mitzvos v'tzivanu al. God gave me the special bracha of being able to refine the omer. And then you go change yourself a little bit, work on yourself, and say, thank you, Hashem, for the ability to serve you. Adkan. Now, if anyone has any comments, questions, please feel free. Hold on. Is someone on the chat there? Thank you. Okay, everybody, feel free if you want to unmute.
Yes, good.
We're taking questions and comments and anything.
Thank you, Rabbi.
How you, Moshe? How you doing?
Wonderful. How are you? Excellent.
Nice to see you.
Call you later.